All right, I want to welcome everyone to this week's edition of the Northern Nerdcast, where we showcase the geeky, nerdy people, groups, and events that happen in and around the city of Edmonton. The Northern Nerdcast is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. Please feel free to head on over to Alberta Podcast Network for the list of an amazing Alberta-made podcasts. We would also like to encourage everyone out there that if you do enjoy this episode, to share this on with all your friends on social media. This way, we are able to help grow the community here in Edmonton and keep everyone up to date with the latest news and information regarding the geeky, nerdy people, groups, and events that happen in and around the city of Edmonton. Also, if you or someone you know would like to be featured on our show, please feel free to contact us over at northernnerdnetwork.com. Now, let's get on with the show. All right, so welcome back to another edition of the Nerdcast. My name is Dan Schessel, and today we have beside me is Marcus.
I'm not Chelsea Thompson.
You are not Chelsea Thompson.
No.
No, you are much uglier than Chelsea Thompson. I'm sorry.
I know, I get that a
Yeah.
lot.
Sorry. Yeah, I know.
It's weird.
I know. But that's okay. We still love you just the same. And on today's show, we also have with us our very special guests. Joy and Mike are joining us from the city of Edmonton. Say hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
Well, we're so glad to have you guys. We're going to talk a little bit about the GOAT initiative that the city of Edmonton has on right now, a little bit later on in the show. But first off, we'd like to ask everyone out there, around our table anyways, how their week was. So, Joy, we're going to start with you. How was your week?
I had a great week. Anything in particular I can tell you about?
Anything you like to talk about?
Okay. On a late Tuesday, I went on a plant walk with a fellow named Robert Rogers. He is an instructor at the U of A. He does some botanist work as well as it's like a lot of plant ecology. And he did some identification out in Mill Creek Ravine. And this one particular plant that he identified for us is called Ghost Pipe, and I'm really excited about it. It's a parasitic plant that uses a fungal association for its nutrients, so it has no chlorophyll. And if you make a tincture out of it with 70% alcohol to 30% water, steep it for a little while, it gives you vivid and vibrant dreams.
Huh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
So, like, when you're dreaming, you get vivid and vibrant dreams, or it's like a mild hallucinogenic sort of thing?
I don't really know that it's like a hallucinogenic. I don't exactly know what's going on in your brain. I'm not that level. I don't really know. And it's not a mushroom. It's a parasitic plant that uses like fungus for its nutrients. It draws nutrients out of fungi. But it's not green. It's a kind of translucent white color. And yeah, Monotropa uniflora is the species genus. I'm kind of a plant nerd, so
That's awesome.
But anyway, I'm the most excited about this plant, and it grows right here in the Edmonton River Valley. Didn't know that. Yeah.
That is awesome. This is the first time I actually have to say that we've ever had someone talk about chlorophyllic, I don't know what you just said, on our show, which is absolutely amazing. I'm truly astonished. This is awesome.
That was my Tuesday. Do you want to know of any other days? Okay. Should it? This is a goat-related one. So on an early Wednesday, I think this would have been, I have a buddy in animal science who he goes to the U of A, and he let me know that goats can actually see 340 degrees. So because I think because they're they're prey, so predator versus prey, and so that they have the way that their eyes are placed on their head. So anyway, it was an early Wednesday, and I was just kind of like playing with a twig behind this goat's head to see if it could actually see like 340 behind me, and it can literally like rotate its pupil in a way that I cannot show you on this podcast, but it can like rotate it to the back of its head, and I thought it was straight up 360, but it was probably a solid 340 degrees that it can see without moving its body.
Wow.
Yeah, that was Wednesday.
I'm so excited to hear what happened on Thursday. It feels like you're building to something.
I don't know. What did I do on Thursday? I don't know. I should let Michael have a turn here, and then I don't know if you want to keep talking about my week, we can.
Yeah, sure. Michael, how was your week?
My week, I probably wasn't as exciting as that, I don't think. For work, we saw the goats leave on Wednesday morning, so we had to pack them all up and get them into the trailer. And then, yeah, this weekend I've been volunteering with Special Olympics a little bit. We had a big registration day on Saturday, try and register all the athletes for their sports. And then today I was out in the sun all day playing at their softball fun tournament to kind of wrap up the season.
That's pretty cool.
And then, yeah, for most of the rest of the week when I get home from work, I play Rocket League a lot.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my go-to when I get home from work. And I think, yeah, a couple of the video games. I'm about 5 years behind the trend, so I'm just getting into Skyrim a little bit.
Can you give me a one-sentence summary of Rocket League? I don't know what it is.
Rocket League is like
Soccer.
Cars, and they have like rockets on the back so they can fly around a little bit.
So cool.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Well, and not only that, it's like a multiplayer game, right? So you're always playing against either people or with people.
Yep.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, we still play this.
Yep.
Rocket League's awesome.
Yeah, it's addicting. I can't ever stop it. It's usually just like, okay, 1 5-minute game, and then I'll try and get some stuff done at home, and then it's like 9 o'clock at night when I'm done and angry at myself.
Yeah, I just downloaded it like a week ago after my 7-year-old harassing me about it for a long time. And he'll say, "Oh, can we just have one game?" Like, "Oh, yeah. One game. It's 5 minutes long. No problem." And then my wife will come in like half an hour later. She's like, "You said it was just going to be 5 minutes and supper's on the table and turn off Rocket League." Yeah.
Just one more.
Yeah, we're in overtime. Just
get out of the room. Yeah, and I'm working on this birdhouse that I'm building. In my back alley, I found this like really weird piece of trash, I guess. It's like a rusty tire and has this big metal pole with this flat piece of metal on it that someone's made for something. I'm not sure what. So I dragged it back to my house, and I've planned to like make a birdhouse on top of it. So it stands about 10 feet high, and this birdhouse is going to have 2 tiers. It's going to have a little pool at the bottom of it, kind of like a bird bath. And then, the bird hotel on the top. And then my thought here, I'm going to make a bee hotel to kind of hang off it. I'm going to call it Airbnb.
Oh,
That's the dream.
Wow.
It's a slow project.
That is the dream. I mean, truly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much my week.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We'll turn it over to Marcus here. How was your week, Mark? Marcus.
Pretty good. I got finished on a cosplay project I've been working on since October.
Yeah,
which was exciting.
You have a little piece of it here with you. He couldn't help himself. Now he's a big. Like people at home can't really see this, but Marcus just put on this incredible Fallout 4.
This is good podcasting here.
Yeah, you can.
That's amazing.
You should just see the rest of this cast.
Yeah, don't take it off.
With that.
It's already hot enough in this room, and that thing doesn't have a fan in it yet.
Oh, right. You're building ACs out.
Marcus, what did you make that out of? Whoa.
That's cool.
It's 3D printed.
Oh.
So it's
I don't know
like
if it can
3D
hear you.
printed plastic.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's a a buddy of mine who's really, really good at painting taught me sort of how to paint it so it looks like metal and it looks weathered. And then the lenses are just cut out from some crappy sunglasses I got at Walmart. Wired in the headlight, which was just like a work light from Canadian Tire. This line here is an AV cable from my old Xbox. And this is like drain line and aquarium tubing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You going? It's the idea to go full suit.
Yeah, he actually has a full suit at home. Like he just finished the whole power armor set. It is something to behold.
Right
Yeah, I put that on in my front yard the other day to test it out and make sure it fit. And neighbors were driving by as I was putting these pieces on, because it's probably 10 pieces that have to go on one at a time. People were slowing down, giving me really weird looks, and I'm waving at them and running around with my printed laser rifle thing. It's good times. Lots of fun.
Yeah, you didn't bring that over. You should have brought that too.
Next time.
Yeah, you gotta build up to that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you should. I think when we go to the Edmonton Expo, we should have the power. We should do the podcast in the power suit.
In the power.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
Yeah, so you're going to be roasting in the.
Yep.
Yeah.
Doing a podcast.
It's not as bad as I thought it would be. I've got like a Under Armour wicking layer underneath, so it. Yeah, hopefully I don't pass out or anything.
Well, it's like putting a bunch of insulation over top of you, and then
it's made out of EVA.
Tape one of those
foam.
gel ice packs to the back of your neck.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I was at a blood drive event a couple weeks ago and talked to one of the ladies that does she's the ambulance mascot, and she said she uses a Camelback full of ice that she wears under her suit, and that keeps it cooled down.
Wow.
Aaron is asking on YouTube. It's a T-45D build from Fallout 3.
Yeah, so if you are out there watching or listening to this, we do have a live comment feed happening here as well. So if you ever want to watch this live, you guys can comment and do that as well.
Yeah. And yeah, Dice for Brains is pretty awesome, Aaron. I'm kind of a big fan.
All right. So for my week, I believe I really haven't done a whole lot. Like I spent a lot of time making brand new characters for our Star Wars RPG this week because I decided that, like a crazy person, that we needed to do a cutscene where we saw the other side of the story this week. So I decided, you know what, we're gonna send some bounty hunters after the crew that has been out there for a while, and so I made everybody new characters, and you guys really got into that.
I was terrible at everything.
Yes, I gave him a really overpowered Mandalorian, and for some reason he still couldn't manage to roll.
She's just terrible at everything.
At everything except for planetary flying.
Yep.
That's about all she could do. And so yeah, we got them new characters. They're all out there hunting down their current characters at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see what happens once they all kind of meet up.
Kill each other. Yeah, that'll be good.
We'll see what happens.
So Mike and Joy, this is like Dungeons and Dragons, but Star Wars that we've been playing together every 2 weeks for a year and a half, I think.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So it's really, really nerdy.
I think we started
really
in January or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Does it cause some tension in the friendships and on the podcast because of it?
Well, I'm GM, so whatever I say goes.
You're the boss.
That's how that works. And I'm the host of the podcast, so that's how that works.
Perfect.
I see how this works.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm just here to prop you up then. Yeah.
All right. So is everyone just kind of ready for a quick little break here?
Sure.
Sure. Let's take a moment and hear from our sponsor. Hey, Marcus. Did you know that ATB is a proud sponsor of the many events that we like to attend, such as the Edmonton Expo, the Fringe Festival, Animathon, so much more?
I did, Dan. And not only are they involved with so many new and upcoming projects, just like the Alberta Podcast Network.
That's right. It's incredible to see the involvement they have right here in our own backyard.
Yep. That's just one of many ways ATB sets itself apart from other big financial institutions. You can see your money in action, supporting amazing projects happening right here in Alberta.
Exactly. And it's all part of this amazing initiative, ATB Listens.
That's right. And if you guys want more info about how ATB listens and all the great projects they support in Alberta, you can go to atb.com/listens to find out more.
That's right. ATB Listens. All right. So like we said before, we have Joy and Mike joining us today from the city of Edmonton to talk a little bit about the goats that are wandering around the city. So we're just going to start off by, talking with you guys a little bit about like where did this initiative even start? How did this come about?
Sure. I think we were looking at what Calgary had done. So I think in 2015, 2016, Calgary had started the project. And we saw in the media of them kind of testing it out. So we just pitched an idea at a meeting, and the management thought it might be a good idea to look into it and try it. And we did some research and on the company that Calgary used, and things kind of fell into place and schedules lined up, and we got to have the goats for this summer.
That's awesome.
Mm.
So it's the same company then that's doing Calgary's as well?
Yeah, they're so it's called Bad Plant Management, like bad, like the goats.
Yeah.
They go across Alberta doing different municipalities, doing the same work with big and small jobs. Obviously, ours and Calgary's are kind of larger jobs, but they work with Lacombe and different smaller towns as well, doing just the same thing, weed management techniques.
So what makes goats such a great tool to use for like noxious weeds and things like this?
Yeah, these goats in particular, the shepherd has trained them to eat noxious weeds. So we're trying to get them to eat the provincially legislated weeds, the noxious ones on site. So these ones are trained to specifically eat those ones. So yeah, that's probably why we choose these goats over any other animal.
And I think goats in general too are really good kind of all-terrain browsers. So where they are grazing in Rundle Park, it's pretty steep. There's a lot of hills. There's a lot of kind of different kind of terrains that you wouldn't want to send a crew in there. You wouldn't want to send any kind of mower or machinery in there, just because you can't predict kind of the ground and how it's going to be. So these goats have like incredible agility, and they can kind of assess the hills and just kind of go up and down without us having to worry about any kind of safety concerns.
Yeah, I traveled to India a few years back, and it would not be uncommon to see a goat hanging out in a tree.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they are amazing climbers, which is like, not something you see here.
Yeah.
But goats can climb trees.
Not often.
Yeah.
I can honestly say I don't think I've seen a goat in a tree before.
Yeah,
Not this summer.
Not at least not this summer yet.
Yeah.
I mean, the summer is still not over, so
Yeah, you got to come down to Rundle Park.
Yeah. So is Rundle Park basically where the goats are being used?
Yeah, that's the place. Our main site right now, that's our targeted site, and where the pilot's taking place. So the goats will be eating the weeds there for about 2 years as far as we know it right now. And we'll be evaluating how well they do and how efficient they are at eating noxious weeds and using it as a tool in the future.
So what sort of plan would you have past this as well? Like, do you guys know what you guys would want to see with the goats later on?
Yeah, I think so. We're measuring kind of how they control the spread of the weeds and how they kind of get rid of them as they're here. So I think once we do an evaluation of that and see kind of how it is in a cost-benefit analysis way, we can kind of look at other areas that are similar. So like really sloped terrain and naturalized areas where we don't want to send in people, or where it's just not feasible to send in kind of crews and machinery to kind of take care of those weeds. So there's a lot of other parks kind of in the northeast around the more hilly parts that we can identify and potentially make it into kind of a multi-park project or anything like that.
Yeah, these goats too are really good at getting close to waterways. So they're right along, like in Rundle Park, they're right along the North Saskatchewan River, and they can get right close to the embankment. It would be pretty unsafe to send like a person in there to spray, and really you wouldn't spray that close to a waterway or a river anyway. So maybe you'll see them more around water areas where there's a river or some kind of draining system. Yeah.
Stormwater ponds as well. I know they just went to Calgary. They're doing some stormwater ponds there. So those kind of man-made drainage operations, whether it's an industrial area or now we're seeing them a lot in the new communities. These are stormwater ponds, just kind of to sequester any excess water that comes in the storms.
Like these goats, I just have to paint a picture as to how close they can get to an embankment. So like there's an area in Rundle Park where we kind of get some flooding. So there's it kind of creates a sort of like stagnant pond. It's kind of like it's kind of buggy and stuff in there. And then there's a small little land bridge, and it's probably about 1.5 meters wide, and the goats can cross that water on either side, and they're totally fine and comfortable with it. And there's about 190 goats on site, and they can cross like orderly across this little land bridge and get that close to the water. So yeah, it's pretty amazing to see them work.
That's awesome. We do have a comment earlier on the show, and it was a little bit about Goat Simulator. How close is the goat to Goat Simulator? I know personally, I've had my goat go up onto a Ferris wheel before. Have you ever seen a goat go on a Ferris wheel before?
Not yet. But that could be like for year 2 of the pilot project. I wouldn't mind seeing some of that.
Should we fuse Klondike days and like?
Yeah, we'll get them into Klondike days and see what happens.
I had to ask, right?
Yeah. No, that's good journalism there, Dan. Fantastic.
We are right across from Science Provincial Park, and there's like a rocket launching area over there. Maybe that would be a cooler station.
We'll put some boots in the launch.
Yeah, the other day during our meet and bleed, like we had a meet and bleed event where the public came in and where they were able to meet the goats and hang out on site, learn a little bit about what we're trying to do. But across the way at that Science Provincial Park, there was a slip and slide, like a large slip and slide along the hillside, and I was just thinking about how wild that would be to send a goat. Not that we would ever do that, but
we'd consider it for sure.
Maybe they'd be into it.
And that's what I would get from Goat Simulator, right? So I mean,
maybe the goats would be really into the slip and slide, and they'd be like forming.
They would
form
an
orderly line back up the hill and then down the slip and slide.
You never know.
Agility.
Well, yeah, whenever we were moving them kind of to different sites, if they saw anything that they could climb on, like whether it was like an electric box or one of like the bridge railings, they would just be hopping on it, and they would be fighting each other for whoever could get to the top of this thing. So anything they see, they want to climb.
Yeah,
they like being high up, don't they?
Yeah.
Some of the baby goats will even try to jump your shoulder if you're sitting next to them. They'll just try to like kind of climb up on you. And like the shepherd, Jeanette, she's always got like when she's sitting with them, she's got a goat trying to climb on her shoulder. Like, yeah, they're super social animals, and they like climbing.
Yeah.
So Joy, you said that you've got a friend in sort of animal behavior science stuff at the university. Yeah, I know. I said Joy, didn't I?
No, you said Joe.
What did I? I meant Joy. I'm sorry if I called you Joe. Does he have an explanation for that sort of climbing tendency? I know very little about animals, but my guess is that it's sort of so they can see better and see predators coming. You know, if I'm just totally pulling this out of my butt, or does that have some actual science to it?
Oh man, I wish I could phone a friend. Can I phone a friend? I can't really speak to why a goat is infatuated with climbing onto things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know. Maybe, I don't.
I would guess it's probably like instinctual to escape predators like you. That would be my guess. Especially if they can like see more around them.
So can I phone a friend or? At the break I will find out.
All right. Yeah. Is there anything else? So, like, how much time were they here in Edmonton?
Oh yeah, so their first round, they were here for about 6 days, their first time in town. So they're on a rotational schedule. So they come in and they eat the weeds down, and then they're off site for about 3 weeks, and then the weeds will grow out again, and then they'll come back. And what we're trying to do is sort of starve out the root reserve, so all the energy that's stored away in the extensive root of the weeds that are on site. And like something like Canadian thistle has extremely large. The taproot can be up to like 6 meters or 8 meters long. So they have really strong root systems. So yeah, they'll come back to site and munch down all that vegetation, and then they're off again for 3 weeks right now, and they'll be back somewhere around September 15th. So they're here about three different times throughout the summer. Yeah, and on September 23rd we have another public event. It's called the Meet and Bleat event. Bleat is the meaning of the cry of a small livestock animal. Is it any livestock or a goat specifically? I don't actually know. I think it could be a sheep or a goat. So bleat, the cry of a small
Meet
goat.
and Bleat. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I thought it was clever when you were coming up with that.
Yeah.
So how much work went into that? No, that's awesome. So are we? So we're getting the goats back here. Like I don't even know. Like this seems so exciting. Like and cool. Just having like this chance to see the goats in person. Yeah. I don't know. Do you have anything else?
Do you have any idea how they train the goats specifically to go after these weeds?
Oh yeah, I could talk a little bit about that. So Jeanette's the mastermind. That's their shepherd on site. And so, but what she's kind of like talked about is from a young age. So she'll feed weeds to the mothers, and the milk will slightly taste like some of that weed. And she'll also hand feed weeds to the babies. So they start associating it with a reward system, as well as getting a taste for it at a young age through the milk and both through Jeanette. And so, they kind of grow up knowing that these are edible. But there's a bit of work to it. They don't just kind of, I don't think any old goat will sit there and eat, like kind of choose leafy spurge. She also uses sort of like a fence system too when needed. So if there's a huge population of leafy spurge, which is one of the weeds, or like thistle, she'll put a fence out, and they'll kind of they'll hang out in that fence and eat those weeds down. But yeah, they're trained too. But I mean, it's not that they won't eat other vegetation at all. Like they will. But what we're trying to do is target those noxious ones. Yeah.
That's awesome. Now I got a question. What caused you to get into the field that you're in at the moment?
I'll let Michael go first.
Sure. I think like working in parks is there's always kind of an environmental spin on things. And that's pretty interesting to me as well. So my position is public education coordinator. So I get to work with schools and work with the public, educating them on projects like this or parkland management. So it's usually being out in nature, talking about nature, and kind of doing things that involve environmental innovation. I think Edmonton responds pretty well to all these environmentally innovative projects that we try and conjure up. And the GOAT project has been wildly successful on the PR front. In the first week when they came in July, we had about 1,400 people come and visit the goats, just kind of walking by, and people were telling me they were driving from the other side of the city just to come see the goats. So people love the goats, and people I think love the idea as well. Like we can kind of manage parkland this way, kind of more friendly than other techniques.
That's incredible. And not only that, like the fact that you're not actually putting other people at risk, and these goats are really well trained to do a lot of these jobs is really awesome as well. What about you, Joy? How did you get into the field that you're
Yeah, for me, I took an environmental science degree at the U of A, and I've been working for the city since 2013, and I was really lucky to have really proactive leadership. Like my supervisors coming into the city were really kind of, trying to create some change in terms of landscape management, and I kind of luckily stumbled upon all that. And I mean, since 2013, my supervisor at the time was talking about goats. So and also I worked for a group called Root for Trees and Naturalization. It's this rather than this initiative in which, like, rather than sort of using mowing as the only technique, planting native trees and shrubs and flowers across the landscape, and trying to manage land in a more sustainable way, I suppose. And so, I started out with that, and then this GOAT project came into fruition, and I ended up on this project. So, really cool project to be a part of, though, and excited to kind of have a piece of it.
Do you get to spend much time with the goats?
Tons.
Yeah, we do. Like, I'd say Michael and I probably spend the most time out of our team.
Yeah.
With the goats, especially the first round. You're just kind of learning about how the operation works and how Jeanette works with the goats, the shepherd on site, and getting to know the dogs. And
we do the Yeg Park social media stuff, and so that's been a big hit online. Whenever we feature goats and goat posts, people just love it. People love the videos, the GIFs, the pictures. You name it, people are kind of liking it and sharing it and just being really engaged with it. So we make sure I make sure I'm on site a lot to kind of capture all that video and that kind of action that we can share with everyone, because some people can't make it, or some people might miss the goats if they're in like a tough location to go and view them. They're not always in an ideal location to kind of get some good photos. So yeah,
that's awesome. So let me ask you, where can people out there find all this awesome content that you've been putting out?
Yeah, I think so. On social media, we're at Yeg Parks, YEG Parks, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I think our profile image right now is a goat holding a sign, so pretty easy to recognize us there. And then on the city site, we update edmonton.ca/goats. It's kind of all the information about our public events and any kind of etiquette tips or any kind of notices we need to give public about this project. That's our first place to go.
Is there anything that people should know about the goats when they're working or anything like that?
I think some people get a little bit excited and try to rip tree branches off and feed it to the goats. So we try to discourage that. The goats have enough to eat. With the goats, there's 4 dogs actually. So there's 2 herding dogs and 2 livestock guardian dogs, and they're kind of always on site as well, in the pen sometimes. And if they see another dog coming by, they'll get really excited and they'll start barking, and their bark's pretty loud. So some people with dogs might get a little scared if they're walking by. So we usher the people with dogs across, the goat path a little bit quicker than usual, or ask them just to not bring their dogs nearby the goats, because it does kind of get the dogs riled up, and it gets the goats riled up, and the operation's all thrown off.
That's awesome.
What kind of dogs do they use for the herding?
I think the livestock guardian dogs are Great Pyrenees. So they're like big white floofy ones, and they sleep in there with the goats. So if you're coming by, you won't even notice there's a couple dogs in there. They just usually sleep or they bark. They're not doing anything in between, but they kind of look like goats. They're big and white. And then there's a border collie who's kind of the main herding dog. His name's Tuffy Love. And so he's the one that's always nipping at them when they're moving sites, and he's kind of always just keeping an eye on the action. And then there's another kind of herding dog / guard dog named Jack. He's I think a husky cross with a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what he is.
Yeah, he barks a lot though.
Yeah.
Even at people, so he has to be in the trailer most of the time.
They're all really friendly though. It's just they're doing their job, right?
Yeah.
Like just kind of warding off. There's coyotes in the area too, and they do a really good job. Like we haven't lost a goat yet.
Yeah.
And so they're doing a great job of like warding off any predators. And, yeah.
And the other two dogs are named David Suzuki and Dot.
Yeah.
One's this big, like famous name, and the other one's Dot.
Yeah.
Do you know any of the names of the goats?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, tons. So
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage is one of the rutting bucks, and he tries to get really friendly with all the female goats.
Yeah, it's their time right now.
Yeah,
so.
and he strikes out all the time.
I don't know if this show is family friendly, but there's some definite action on set.
It's pretty. There's some baby goats that are favorites: Cranberry and Snowflake.
And Betsy.
Yeah, Betsy.
Betsy's one of my favorites.
There's an all-black one named Midnight, who's pretty grumpy all the time. What others? Mo and Jeanette. Jeanette knows them all. There's one named Confluence because it was born in Confluence Park in Calgary. So we're crossing our fingers for a goat to give birth in Rundle, so we can have Rundle the goat. But none of them are pregnant yet. So
it's because Nicolas Cage keeps striking out.
Yeah, he's not doing good. He needs some help. He definitely.
He's a goaty wingman or something.
Yeah, he needs some help.
He needs some help. See all these ladies, and you can't get one.
He makes like a really funny noise, and he'll rest his head. So when he's going to mate, he'll rest his head kind of on the back of a female's neck, and his tongue hangs out the side, and then he just makes the funniest noise, like. And a few people get to see it. So like around dinner time when they're all in a closer metal pen, that's when he starts his game.
That was pretty accurate. Have you been practicing?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I've been practicing.
You can incorporate it into your moves. And...
Yeah, I don't know if I'll take some tips from him.
No, probably not a good idea.
Well, right on. Well, are we ready for another break here? Sure. All right. All right, like I said before, the Northern Nerdcast is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATV. And if you go right now to albertapodcastnetwork.com, you'll find more amazing Alberta-made podcasts. And they just recently added 5 more podcasts to the list. That's right. So the list that was at 10 is now at 15, because that's how math works. And it's going to keep growing, right? So they just added another 5, which is the Fourth Line podcast, the Expats, Work Not Work podcast, the Tight Ends podcast, and the Not There Yet podcast. So head on over to albertapodcastnetwork.com for all those amazing Alberta-made podcasts right now, and check out all them. It's awesome. And we're there. The Northern Nerdcast.
That's a good enough reason.
Yeah. Smooth.
Working on the transitions.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So I should have asked before we took that break. Can I get all that information from you? We'll get all that information from your guys' thing at the end of the show here, where people can find you. All that kind of fun stuff.
YEG Parks.
YEG Parks.
Yep.
So
I'm gonna follow you guys right now.
Awesome.
Who doesn't love goats?
Yeah. So for our upcoming events here in the next little while, we got Keeping Evenings Fun, which is KevCon. the 3rd. And this is going to be happening on September 1st to 3rd at Queen Mary Park Community League. This is our 3rd annual board game weekend extravaganza. It's going to be awesome. I don't know, do you guys ever play board games?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this is like a whole weekend. It's a lot of teaching. If you want to learn some new games, they have a lot of chances to actually learn various different board games that are out there right now. And they usually try to keep a lot of the really big and upcoming games. I don't know. I'm trying to think of some of the new ones that came out, but I can't. I'm drawing a blank right now. We got a zombie walk happening.
Cool.
On September 2nd. Yeah, I found this and I'm like, ooh, this sounds pretty cool. So it's Edmonton Zombie Walk 2017 Undead MTV. I am not 100% sure what this is, but it's going to be down in Churchill Square for an annual zombie walk. This year's theme is Undead MTV.
Ooh.
Yeah. I don't know what that means.
I think he dressed up as like a musical person
Or like
that might have
George Trump.
died.
Yeah.
Or George Strumble off.
Yes. It will be kid friendly and the mission is free. So go check that out. We got September 8th. There's a free outdoor movie night. Spider-Man Homecoming.
That was good. That was really good.
I really like that movie.
Yep.
Did you guys see Spider-Man Homecoming at all?
I've heard such good things. I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it yet.
It is so good. You should go to this September 8th free outdoor movie night.
Okay, done.
This is at Leafield Community Hall. This is downtown somewhere in Edmonton. Maybe not.
Bring the goats.
Yes.
They'll love it.
It's great.
Right.
It's goat friendly.
It's goat friendly. Yep.
So yes, it says cash concession is on site. Drinks, hot dogs, popcorn, candy, snacks, everything's $1.
Wow.
So yeah,
That's pretty good.
yeah. Free movie and $1 snacks.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong. I mean, really. So moving along down to September 20th, there's a building and beers. Choose your own adventure. This is a YEG date night event, and it says, "Come build a Lego set with us. We're tackling the Arc de Triumph, or the London Ferris wheel, which we were talking about earlier. See, we're bringing this all around.
Yep.
Put some goats on it.
Wheel.
Yes. Come out and enjoy a night of community building with prizes and more. Your first beer is on us, and we want you to come out and build a Lego set. Bring it home and also build community on a fun date night in Edmonton, hosted by Craft Beer Market. Your admission cost includes prizes, 1 Lego set, 2 beers, and admission for 1 couple to the event.
Oh, I thought it was like everybody was building on the same set. It's like you pay your ticket, you get the Lego set,
yeah.
You get to drink beer and build the Lego set there, and then take the Lego set home.
Yeah,
good.
That's
like
pretty awesome.
night for me.
My kids won't be continually asking to help, which is good because they're not helpful. Well, they're getting there.
Neo, he's really good at building now, and so I just kind of let him just do it because
I let them build their sets. I build my
It
sets.
was super frustrating for the longest time to sit there and watch him because it was like you're doing it wrong or you're really slow at it, and it's just like,
give me your children.
Yes, give me your
big blocks.
I want to build it. No, now he's like,
Yep. Same with Titus.
Yeah.
He's pretty quick.
But yeah, this is like one of those nice architecture sites, Lego things. So yeah, you get
not
a nice
Star Wars though, so
it's all right. Well, I'm sure we can forgive him this one time. Maybe next time.
Yep.
Game-A-Lot is happening, another board game convention. This is one that's held by Mission Fun and Games. And this is at the Kingsman Banquet Center on September 29th to October 1st. Game-A-Lot is a weekend of gaming madness sponsored by Mission Fun and Games in support of the St. Albert Family Resource Center.
Cool.
This is a 3-day event. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. all weekend passes sell for $35.
You could get through one game of Axis and Allies.
Yeah, or T3.
I haven't played that one.
TI3. Sorry.
No.
Yeah, they're coming up with another edition, the 4th edition.
I don't even know what this game is.
Yeah, I'll show you later. Anyways, we're moving along. I wanted to talk a little bit more about Extra Life here for a moment, because it is coming up on November 4th. And I know that's quite a ways down the road here, but our site just went live with our Extra Life page, and we are looking for the community out there to come and join us and become part of our team during the Extra Life event. So we're going to go to Extra Life Edmonton, yeah, right? But we want you to come game with us, right? Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, you haven't explained what Extra Life is.
Yes.
Extra Life is a 24-hour gaming marathon that raises money for the Stollery. I tapped out at about 17 hours last year.
It was a valiant effort.
It was a good effort, but yeah, then I went home.
What game are you playing?
Are you kind of come again this year?
Yeah, I think so. And it's
Are you
the
gonna
Stollery.
make- yeah.
How do you not support the Stollery? The Stollery's fantastic.
Awesome. So we have one member here, and you out there in the podcast world, you can join us.
And Mike, you can come play Rocket League.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Joey, you
And
can
that
come
is
play
what-
Rocket League and learn what Rocket League is.
For 24
And play Goat
hours.
Simulator
And
for
Goat Simulator.
24
That's
hours.
right.
Yeah, I can play those two. I'll be pretty happy.
Yeah.
There should be a Goat Simulator Rocket League crossover.
yes.
just-
You should just put
Okay.
rockets on the
Yeah.
goat.
I think in Goat Simulator you can put rockets on them, so we're halfway there.
I would play this game.
I know.
Yep.
We should get on this.
How about it, science?
All right. And one last mention: we got the Edmonton Expo coming up here.
Yep.
Uh,
I'm super excited about it. It's
yeah.
gonna be awesome.
There's so many amazing guests coming here. Who's one of your favorite?
One of the creators of, his name escapes me right now, Fabian something, is one of the creators of Deadpool. Is one of the Fabian Niseza, I think.
Mhm.
He's one of the original creators of Deadpool, who's a big love of mine. So I told him on Twitter I was just going to hang out at his table and creep him out all day. And he seemed okay with that, so that's good. Charlie Cox from Deadpool, or from Daredevil,
Yeah.
I'm excited about. I love that show.
I kind of wanted to find some rose-colored glasses and do the whole like Murdoch
get
thing.
a cane.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that would be awesome.
Some of the kids from Stranger Things are going to be there. I love that show. That was,
Have you guys seen
Gold.
Stranger Things at all?
Yeah, it's a great show.
it's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah. And the actors, like the kid actors in there, are just so amazing.
And some of them they're using for It, which comes out September 6th, which also looks fantastic.
I think season 3 of Stranger Things coming out September 1st.
Yep. And it looks totally creepy and awesome.
Mm.
I love the sort of weird 80s vibe to that show. Is just fantastic. That's super cool.
Yes. And so that's pretty much all the events we have. So Joy and Mike, can you tell us once again where people can find you guys on the web, wherever?
Plug it, Mike.
Sure. Yeah. On social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, it's at Yeg Parks, YEG Parks. And just look for the goat holding the sign. That's us. We post about not just goat related things, but any kind of park related stuff that the city's doing, and any kind of cool projects that we're involved with as well. And then all the goat related information is edmonton.ca/goats. Easy.
Yeah, there's a goat email posted on that page, so you'll pretty much get me if
Yeah.
if you email that.
Yeah, goats@edmonton.ca is
Yeah.
our email.
If I emailed you something that I wanted read to the goats, would you read that for me, Joy?
Absolutely.
We had Sonic Radio call the goats and play some David Bowie, getting them to make some screens for it.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, we could work something out.
Yeah, send your poetry, send your proses. I'd be happy to. Yeah.
Have you guys seen the goats screaming like people?
Oh yeah.
And like the Taylor Swift.
We've been down every YouTube rabbit hole that you can imagine.
There's a goat video on the internet. We've seen it.
The Taylor Swift one just ruins me.
We posted a funny one, a goat arrival video on our Twitter, and we put a little Poltergeist 2 compilation, and there was some goats screaming.
It's pretty good.
You should check it out.
Yep.
I think we're gonna have to go to down the goat rabbit hole.
Yep. Goat
I
hole.
recommend it. It's a solid use of hours.
They're pretty cute.
Yep, goats are awesome.
That's awesome. All right, that's it. I think for the show tonight. I want to thank everyone out there who listens to the show and ask everyone if you can to share it with your friends on social media. The Northern Nerdcast is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB, and is produced by myself, along with Chelsea Thompson, Trina Schessel, and special co-host Marcus the Hirsch. Is that how you?
Yeah.
Hirsch? Yeah, okay.
It's the Hirsch.
Yeah,
the Hirsch. On social media.
The Hirsch.
Yeah.
You can also find more information on the Northern Nerd Network, about the Northern Nerd Network, by checking us out on Twitter at Northern_Nerd, on Facebook at Facebook.com/NorthernNerd, YouTube at YouTube.com/Northern Nerd Network, and on our very own website, NorthernNerdNetwork.com. All right, that's it. That's all we have for this week. I want to thank everybody out there for watching and/or listening, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
And thank you, Mike and Joy, for coming and hanging out.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks,
That was fun.
And thank you to the goats.
All of it.
I love you too.